Hey, everybody. So, what in the hell was that ending? In the blue hell? Well, they're going to talk about that right now. Let's bring out the people, the cast and creators who just brought you all the wonderful footage you just saw. First, we're going to start with creator, executive producer, Jonathan Nolan. Come on out. Next on the list, we've got showrunner, executive producer, Greg Plageman. Come on out. We also have executive producer and writer, Denise Tay. Now, I'm assuming I probably wouldn't want to get shot in the kneecaps, but if I absolutely had to, the man to do it would be the man who plays John Reese, Jim Caviezel. Come on out. And Father, I am sorry. If I do not survive, thank you for creating me. He plays Harold Finch. Michael Emerson. Now, I picture a cabinet in a kitchen. You open it and it's just filled with cereal boxes. It's got like Banana Nut Crunch in it. It's got Cocoa Puffs, Fruit Loops. And a man looks at it and says, "What should I call Root today?" He plays Lionel Fusco, Kevin Chapman. Now, I don't care if you're a human being or if you're a sentient computer. When she tells you to get in the game, you get in the game. She plays Root, Amy Acker. Now, I wanted to talk briefly right at the top about the video we just saw, and there's a sort of an interesting way that came into being, and then also maybe if you can vaguely describe what's going on at the end. I want to turn it over to you guys, and let us know, like, how did that package? That was such a great presentation of the show, and how'd you guys come about that?
Yeah, it's a really, really cool trailer. The coolest thing about that trailer is that we didn't have anything to do with it. It was cut by a woman named Ashley Zhang, lives in China, fan of the show, just like you guys. And we thought it was so awesome, we wanted to kick things off with it. We're at a point with the show now where, you know, the show belongs to you guys as much as it does to us. And there's nothing as exciting as seeing how invested the fans are in the world that we've built. So just kind of a way of saying thank you to you guys. I don't know what that thing at the end was. That was kind of weird.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some social questions. We're going to have audience questions later. I'm going to ask you guys some questions. But the first thing I want to do is you just brought up how the show sort of belongs to the fans, 4 years into the show. And I know that you guys really want to thank not just the fans in the room, not just the fans who can't be here in this country, but the international fans as well, who love this show and absolutely bombard me when I open it up for online questionings. They just want to know the ins and outs and everything about you guys. So if you have a message for the international fans you want to say.
Yeah, we want to say thank you. Merci beaucoup.
And I just want to say that this shirt came all the way from an artist in Latvia.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys can see it.
I want one.
Just some awesome fan art. I actually wanted to ask Jim a question right now, and it was all about John Reese in season 4, and really emotional arc for you this year. And I wanted to know what it was like for you after your characters lost so much, just sort of opening up again, whether it was with Iris or even in the episode Terra Incognita. Some really powerful stuff from you.
This is a tragic side to John, losing Carter and really discovering her too late. But at this point, it's survival. And we don't have a lot of time. This is going to be a fast but sweet, action-packed year with 13 episodes instead of 23. But the quality will be there. Not the quantity, but the quality. And, you know, as far as Reese is concerned, the team has to pull together, and they've got to find a way to go on the offensive and attack Samaritan and hit him hard. They're revolutionaries, and the machine is down. We got to get it up, but we can't get exposed, and so Team Machine has to pull together.
You just brought up the 13-episode order for season 5, and let's talk about that. This is the first time in seasons that the show isn't premiering in the fall, though it is on Netflix and it will be syndicated over on WGN America. And it will be 13 episodes. If you guys want to sort of talk about like how you're going about the storytelling this year with that episode order.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing lots of the show in September because it's going to be all over WGN and Netflix, finally. So when you guys recommend it to your friends, they can actually watch it. In terms of the reduced order, you know, the way we're approaching it, as we've approached most seasons, but this one in particular, is we're going to make 13 kick-ass episodes, drop the microphone, and if we're asked to pick it up again, we'll have more stories to tell. But if this is the last season, and we hope it's not, but if it is,
Well, your viewership is going to dictate a hell of a lot.
tell your friends.
Netflix.
Yeah, no, we're very, very proud of the show and very excited with the show we've been making. You know, if it's the last season, no one's going to be disappointed in the story that we tell.
Okay. Well, yeah, let's not do the awe thing. The show's going to come back, and it's grounded in so many important things. All the things on this show are so grounded in, look, a lot of the times when you do things on the show, it's the first time I'm learning about technology that exists. It's hard to imagine that this show can't keep going forward with new stories. You want to talk about, this show has a really strong science fiction element to it. You're doing a lot of great stuff talking about AI. Can you talk a little bit about how you not only talk about the dangers of AI, but also the benefits, both sides of the coin? And one of the things I really admire about this show is that there's a lot of point-counterpoint going on, and a lot of arguments even between the characters on the show about the existence of artificial intelligence.
I'll take that. You know, I think one of the things, the revelations of the finale for Harold Finch, when he was confronted with the possible extinction of his machine, he realized the humanity of it, and I think the loss of that was something that he couldn't bear. And I think, you know, where we're at, where we ended this season in terms of the machine being compressed and put into a briefcase, it's pretty clear Harold Finch is going to have to figure out a way with these guys how to reconstitute the machine. And I think the fundamental question for him is, what will it become, and what's going to happen to it this year, and how is he not going to repeat the mistakes of what's happened before? And I think that's the fundamental question we're going to drive this season with.
Okay. Michael, in rebuilding the machine, I wanted to talk to you about how Finch has different relationships with each of the characters on the show, different dynamics, but you've had to actually develop a relationship with the machine, with something that your character created. And even though you were hesitant about the machine's motives this past year and were suspect of it a little bit, what was it like for you in that final episode, the finale of season 4, when it was on its way out and you had to cram it into a briefcase and sort of say goodbye to it for now, hopefully?
I thought it was great. I thought it was really moving, and I thought it was cool that Mr. Finch, who has resisted personifying the machine these many seasons, it sort of crept up on him, and in the end, you know, he kind of behaved like it was his child talking to him. And I'm sure he's aware of how insane that sounds, even in the moment when he gives himself over to it. But I thought that was kind of rich and telling, and it has a promise for the future, because if he has to rebuild the machine, he may not do it the way he did originally. He may forego certain safeguards or controls. He may give it more of the freedom that Root was always demanding for it. And maybe a new machine is a greater warrior than the old machine was.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Kevin, I was really nervous for you in the finale when that sniper was on the roof at the end. And you were spared. The correction, how is that going to sort of affect the show going forward? And what do you think, Fusco, who's been on the outside, he knows he's doing good work, but he isn't in on the really the hard details of the mission. What is he going to what do you think he's going to think about what went down with Dominic and Elias right in front of him?
Well, you know, that none of this is new to Fusco. I mean, he's been getting his butt kicked since episode 1, season 1. We try to drown him. We try to go after his child. No, I think Fusco is going to really start asking a lot of questions this season. I think that he's going to start some investigations of his own. He knows there's something out there. He's not quite sure what it is. And I think that
was the event that kind of drives him.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Amy, your character lost a lot this year, and it was some hard times mid-season and in the finale, but I want to talk about the bear costume.
Yes.
That you had to wear in that one episode. Do you ever, when you walk into a scene like that, or you're wearing a wedding dress or a costume, do you talk to the writers about where you've been, or do you make up your own scenario, or do you just sort of show up and get into the costume and like, here I am?
Oh no, there's some good backstory involved. I think for the bear, I don't know if I made it up on my own or Amanda and I talked about it, but we decided I had been performing at children's birthday parties. The wedding dress, there was a little backstory revealed even in the scene. I think I said I had been trying to get close to someone at Samaritan, but yeah, I have his picture in my wallet. It's all good.
I also want to talk about the kiss between Fusco and Root. What? Okay.
She couldn't fight it.
That was kind of my rule to be on the show.
Yeah.
If
She pitched that to the writers.
Please.
But I do want to talk about the episode If Then Else, which was a superb episode that went down to mid-season this year, and get everyone's take on it, really, because so many of you met your end in sort of imaginary scenarios. And Jim, what was it like for you? You know, even though it was just a hypothetical, you did have to, your character went through with that sacrifice and took a lot of people out with you, which was awesome. But what was it like for you to sort of play out these different scenarios?
What episode are you talking about?
This is the episode with,
This is the one. So Denise Tay's contract with us allows her to kill off one major character every season. This last season, she came in with a proposal. She wanted to kill everyone off in one episode, and foolishly, Greg and I went along with it.
the one the shootout under the stock exchange, where the machine is trying to find a way for you guys to get out, and it was not looking good. You sort of run the gambit of all these scenarios, and each time you guys kind of fail.
I mean, it's now basically Reese on steroids. The machine he now knows what Root felt when that thing, comes into him and starts talking to him. He just gives him the, it really takes the element of surprise from the enemy and just, it's a major Gatling gun. that was a powerful moment and brilliant moment. How how the writers keep coming up with that. My favorite was episode of the year though was the scene that I did, or the episode with Carter in the car.
Yeah, that's right. And what was it like? I mentioned earlier the episode Terra Incognita, but to get Taraji back for that sort of that closure, a huge part of the episode, obviously, not just flashbacks, but within Reese's own mind, that was sort of like a really big turning point, I felt, when he realized that he hadn't shared things that he thought he had. What was that your take on it as well, or?
Yeah, at least the guys that have trained me so well. A special nod to the families of SEAL teams out here that have really helped me find this character. But these guys are extraordinary at compartmentalization. And the tragic part to Reese is that, here's a gal he would have really loved, and heart and head didn't quite hook up until it was too late. And it just never felt completed. And just you can what they did a great job is when you assume in your life that you've said to your family members that you loved them, or and you never did. You never spent the time that you thought you did. I just, when I remember watching it, it had me in tears. I really miss Carter and Taraji. But I think that healing can help him go forward with other people in his life.
Awesome. Amy, with that episode of If Then Else, that was a huge moment for Root and Shaw. And that was something that was laying under the surface a lot of a lot of episodes leading up to that, and then just really just blossomed in this really dangerous scenario when it seemed like this was it, and all the cards sort of had to be laid more on the table. What was the feeling like going through again the fake death, and then coming out the other side of it? Everything's going to be okay now, but then she falls. I mean, that must have been devastating.
Yeah, I mean, we had the advantage of getting to read the whole episode, so doing the fake death, we knew it was fake, which was less traumatic. But yeah, I mean, it was just such a challenging episode for us all to shoot because we had to block shoot all of those scenes. So we would do the scenes multiple, I guess there was 4 scenarios, so we would do scenes 4 different ways in a row. And we would spend a whole day just doing one. It felt like we were doing one scene, but it was 4 different scenes. And at points we would be like, "What? Where are we? Who's alive?" And so it was an interesting process shooting that scene, shooting that episode, and just seeing how it came together in such a great way. And I mean, luckily they had it all in their minds and were able, we were kind of trusting that we were doing what they needed us to do in a way. But when Shaw kissed me and then was shot, I don't think I realized at that point, but it really was such a turning point for my character. And even though I was so sad she was dead, or maybe dead, or I didn't know what was happening, I didn't realize what doors it was going to open as far as like the different things I was going to get to explore with their relationship, and just knowing what the feelings I had for her, it kind of came out after that point. So, and before that point, it was kind of a fun, flirty, am I actually flirting with her, or am I just annoying her? And then when she was gone, it was just a really great thing to get to play.
Speaking of not knowing the fate of Shaw, I wanted to ask you guys just about the fate of Shaw coming up in season 5, and Sarah Shahi, and what the prognosis was for her returning to the show.
Well, if you ask Denise about the fate of any character, it's going to be, she's going to kill them.
Don't believe this, you guys. This is Bus Meet Denise.
But
We
yeah.
haven't seen The Last of Shaw.
Okay.
We have
okay.
not seen The Last of Shaw.
Till Denise kills her.
Kevin, your character, like you said, he's been having his butt handed to him for 4 seasons now. He almost at this point, you said he's going to go forward questioning, but up until then, he's sort of put his life on the line without question. It's like, you do this, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to risk my life. Are these Fuscos, as sort of demented, as a demented dynamic as it is, sort of, are these his first friends that he's sort of experienced? I mean, he's had such a back history with HR and stuff like that, and he's had associates, but are these his first friends?
No, actually, what happened was Denise said, "Do it, or she would kill my character." No, I think what this group did for Fusco was it brought him back to the once heroic image of himself. As you know, he got caught up with the HR group and kind of went to the dark side of the street. And I think when Mr. Reese gave him a chance, at first he was very reluctant to embrace that chance, and then as time continued on, he realized that it's a better life to be on the other side of the street. And that's why I think he does it without question.
Awesome.
But that may change a little bit this year.
Okay. Actually, Michael, you were just mentioning about how in rebuilding the machine, you might actually start infusing it with certain elements that up until this point wouldn't be something that Harold Finch would do. Where do you see Root and sort of Finch, how do you see their collaboration on this? Is this going to be a push-pull dynamic in rebuilding, or are they going to be on the same page?
I suppose. No, they won't be on the same page.
Haven't you
never
learned to
on
listen to me by now? I'm always right.
Never on the same page. But it's an interesting kind of grudging camaraderie that they have. It's fun to play, and it's not as prickly as it used to be. Everybody's gotten, I guess, used to one another, and people that keep saving your life and stuff, you tend to warm to them. But yeah, she certainly has she always has had a different vision of what the machine should be or what its mandate should be. So the question will be, can she prevail on him if they do indeed collaborate on the rebooting of the machine? What of her character will the machine end up with?
I think I might have to tie him up again.
He keeps trying to put those things out of his mind. Finch, I mean, the kidnapping, the torture, the cutting with razor blades.
I do want to get to fan questions in a little bit, so you have questions, start queuing up at the mic. We want to hear from you guys too. Actually, I have a social question here. Again, like I said, fans from all over the world are sending in questions, and this one comes from CJ Harding, and he says basically he's applauding you guys for all the scientific stuff and the computer and the hacking terminology. He says he doesn't know anything about it, but he says it comes off really grounded and realistic. He wants to know what kind of consultants you have on the show that sort of make everything sort of grounded in reality.
We just make it all up, sadly. No, all of the writers, some of our amazing writers are also here with us today. Thank you, guys. Our writers tend to go and do their own research. We talk about this. We email things back and forth. It's a really paranoid room. And we just try to keep things as grounded as possible.
And also from, this is for Jim, from Feli. He wants to know, what do you think Reese needs the most at this point in his life? Sort of something that stabilizes him and normalizes him, or sort of the crusading mission that he sort of chose to adopt 4 years ago?
I think he needs hope. I think that they're in bad shape, but he has faith in his team, and they gotta come together and figure out what they have, and once they're on the same page, is locate where Samaritan is, and try to hit him in the Achilles heel or something of that sort. But he wants his teammates to depend on him, and I think he also is vulnerable and needs to trust. And I think things like that we were talking about earlier with Carter probably helped, became the genesis of that, started something just a little bit different in him.
Okay, awesome. Excuse me. Jonah and Greg, I've talked to you about this other times I've spoken to you. The musical elements to this show, the song choices, really, other shows have music, but I think the songs on the choices that you guys make really pull out emotion in a lot of these scenes. If you could talk a little bit just about like everything from Radiohead to Pink Floyd and stuff like that, like what is it that you look for in a specific song? Is it something that you search for, or is it something that you already have in your pocket and you're like, this would make a good song for a scene someday?
Yeah, those music supervisors are brilliant.
They're brilliant. Now, Greg and I discovered very quickly when we started making the show together that we had very similar musical tastes, or a lot of points in common, and that picking the song is often more fun than writing. To sit and listen to a lot of music really loud. But yeah, it's a great, it's a great sort of, it's an additional creative component to an episode. You can find kind of another dimension, nothing quite, I mean, as great writers as we are, or we think of ourselves, music can connect with emotion in a way that kind of bypasses all the rest of the nonsense, kind of plugs right in the brain. It's such a great way to just enhance the experience of some of these amazing scenes. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think we're pretty judicial with it too, or judicious, excuse me. And the one test that Jonah and I always have for a song, whether we're gonna use it or not, is, do you get a chill? Do you get goosebumps? And if you do, then it goes in. If you don't, then we don't use it.
Well, you guys choose the goosebumpiest songs around. I think we all remember the Johnny Cash cover of Hurt from season 3. It's an amazing opening montage. Denise, you've been taking it on the chin this panel about killing off characters. I want you to talk about the levity on the show a little bit, about how important that might be to counterbalance some of the loss and seriousness that goes on, the grimness, and a lot of that comes through in banter, stuff like that. How do you see those two sides sort of coming together?
It's a great point, because I think we are fighting a war. We are at war, and I think we need that levity, and I feel like audiences really appreciate seeing our guys joke each other, and I feel like we're going to see this season that this war is coming to a head, and more than ever, we need to have those moments of levity. One of my favorite moments from last season was a little bit of both, actually. It was an episode that Amanda Siegel wrote, and the guys ended up having guns on each other in a church. And so it was this moment where like everyone was drawing. It was this crazy Mexican standoff in a church, and yet it was kind of cheeky and fun all at the same time. And I think if we're able to do that, if we're able to have high stakes and humor, then hopefully we're doing our job.
Great. I want to see if we have any fan questions right now. Can't really see out there. Let me see.
Over here.
There we go. Number 1. Go right ahead.
Hello, everybody. Just wanted to say that since the pilot aired, I've been absolutely hooked on the show and thought the writing on it and the casting has been absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have more of a comment than a question, and it's directed toward Kevin Chapman. And I couldn't get my head wrapped around your character in the first couple of episodes, but there was a turning point, I think it was in season 2, where you were called basically to keep a supermodel safe for just about the entire episode. And from that
Kiss
point,
rude, supermodels, you know, somebody's got to do it, guy.
and from that point forward, you have been, I think, elevated in my eyes on the show anyway. I look forward to seeing the Fusco come on screen, man. And that's all I had for you.
Thank you.
Go
It's
right ahead.
a little intimidating talking to a bunch of talented people, but I have a question and a statement. The question would be, when did you decide to have Root become a permanent member or semi-permanent member of the cast? I like to think it's because Amy is such a great actor that you just couldn't say no to her, but there's probably a real reason.
No, that's basically the
second.
reason.
That's the reason.
You hit it right on the head. We worked with Amy first on the first season finale, and Greg and I went out and we all had so much fun working with Amy. She's such a terrific actor. My wife was a huge Angel fan. That's weird. And I was as well. And it was my wife who said, you know, that role. You've really got to think about Amy Acker for it. And ever since then, we just haven't looked back.
Okay.
Thanks.
My one statement would be is my solution would be to totally obliterate Samaritan's AI personality and implant the machine's personality in Samaritan's hardware.
Spoiler alert, man.
Yeah, don't give it away.
Rats.
Hi there, number 1 fan again from first one. Thank you for bringing Zoe back, as I asked last time. Great character, great actress. Going with what you said earlier, I love the soundtrack. And a season ago, you ended an episode with a Rolling Stones cover. That was awesome, with a bank scene. Do it again. Thank you, great show. Keep it going.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, actually, talking about Zoe a bit, is there anybody, and not to put you on the spot, but going into next season that you're looking to bring back? You have a big sort of pocket of characters that you've established on the series. Is there anyone that you could say will be returning for sure?
Denise wants to bring them all back one by one to kill them all off. But no, it's been one of the great experiences about working on the show. Continues to be the amazing supporting cast that comes in, week out, whether it's a person of interest or one of the recurring characters. So we're very much hoping, as we do every season, to bring as many of them back as possible. That said, these guys killed off pretty much all of them in this finale.
Yeah, we slaughtered them all in the finale.
That was Greg.
Who we got next here?
Hello, I'm one of the international fans.
There we go.
I wanted to say the typecast is amazing. Like there is no stereotype. Like there are tough guy and tough women also. And I wanted to ask if you think you opened something in non-stereotypical casting. Do you understand the question?
No, could you repeat it for us one more time? Sorry.
The cast of the show is not stereotype.
Sure.
So, do you think you open non-stereotypical sort of casting? Because, like when I Elias, he looks like a teddy bear in the beginning, and
He does a bit.
It's kind of cuddly.
Yeah.
and then he really looks like a big villain. So, do you think you're open for next shows or movies this type of casting that you don't search for a specific typecast.
Yeah, like if you don't play out, you sort of play against expectations maybe with your casting choices.
Yeah, and my favorite kind of people are the people who surprise you. And that's where we tend to, we cast the best actor for the role. Whatever preconceptions you have about what they look like or what they ought to look like for a role, you know, it's one of the great things about being able to surprise people coming out of left field like that. So we're very lucky to have worked with an incredible cast, I think the best cast on TV. And all of these, to a man and woman, are actors who can find new depths, new things to surprise you with. So it's a very fortunate position to be in.
Sort of playing against expectations, sort of behind the reason for the casting of Oaks Fegley as Gabriel, the boy, sort of the mouthpiece for Samaritan, because that was a great juxtaposition. Is that sort of what you were going for?
Yeah, I just think, anything that surprises you, or race, gender, doesn't matter. It's a person's got chops or they don't,
Great.
Thank you.
Hi, it's so nice to meet all of you, and it's really amazing show. And I think the one thing that's really great about the show is you have so many strong female characters like Shaw, Ruth, and even Grace and the Control, Carter. So the question is actually for all the guys on the stage. When you create all those strong female characters, what's your process, and what all the actors, what's your take on that? And also, who is the strongest person in the show, you think, male or female?
I think the person that everyone's most scared of is Denise. We've established that.
Well, I think it's really great to work on this show because the casting is surprising and smart. We get characters that you weren't quite expecting, but then they surprise you and they turn out to be something rich and strange, and it's really good that way, and it makes it more fun to go to work every episode and see who's going to be on the other side of the table from you. And it's one of the things I'm most proud about my association with Person of Interest is that they're interested in a skill set and in intelligence of playing.
We're basically a group of nerds just like you.
Michael, you this past season, at one point your character was given a gun and you were sort of like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to use this gun. After the events in the season finale, do you think your character might use it? Will Harold actually pull the trigger on somebody? Is that something you feel like he's at a point of doing?
He has sworn all along that he won't use firearms. But then I suppose under certain circumstances, he might find a strategic use for a firearm. Not to bring down another human, but to make things happen.
Okay, all right.
I'm just mulling it over.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Jarrett. I've been such a big fan of the show ever since it started. I have the soundtrack for season 1 and season 2 on my iPhone. My question goes out to Jim. We've seen you go through a lot of relationships throughout the past 4 seasons, and none of them have really worked out, but Iris has seemed pretty strong going through season 4. The relationship you've developed with her is unlike the others, like Zoe and Carter. I was wondering if we're going to see more of Reese and Iris in season 5, or if Reese is going to be more preoccupied with the machine and the whole crisis going on with that.
Well, I don't write the show, you know. Jonah, do you know?
We know, Jim, but we're not going to tell you.
Well, hope, you know.
Thank you.
Just wondering if Finch is going to find his way back to his true love sometime.
Yeah, let's talk about Grace.
I hope so, because I find that actress so attractive. I really, really do. I open my eyes in the morning and I think, oh, if only I could just roll over and, oh, it's her. She might be around.
Okay, thanks.
You got it, she might.
Brilliant writing, brilliant cast, so thank you very much. My question was already asked, so I'll ask a hypothetical. Michael, if Finch came across Benjamin Linus's number, would he still save him?
I'm just trying to work through the casting. Sure he would. Yeah, no one deserves to have their life ended by violence, even a rotter like Benjamin Linus. No, but he's actually all right. Benjamin's all right.
There's a good chance he'd probably be the perpetrator, though, I think.
Yeah. Yes, that's
Hi, I'm another international fan, so much love from the Philippines. First of all, I'd like to say, Amy, I love your work so much. I'm such a huge fan ever since I heard your voice on Justice League. But my question actually is, will we see Bear tagging along in more episodes in the future?
There we go.
Because he's been actually integral to the plot in some episodes, so are we going to see him in the future? Being on the missions and stuff.
We're in a renegotiation contract right now with Bear, and I don't know, it's getting ugly.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
yeah, he wants too many kibbles and bits.
Bear's
trailer.
a bit of a diva.
Bear's a diva.
Thank you
Bear
so
gets the best treatment of anyone.
I believe that, yeah.
Denise tells us that Bear may be the only one who survives the show.
Bear will never be harmed. Well, never say never.
All right. We found the line.
Finally found it. There.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. Congratulations on, it's great fourth season. So my question is about Reese. Reese is my favorite character. Reese is what the show is about, and I love everybody else, but it's about Reese. So anyway, so look, and that fan trailer made that very clear. So
I
let's
quote
see.
Taraji, I am
So-
Jesus and this is my last supper.
Actually, no. You see, I was thinking more in terms of Batman. And I got a real Batman vibe off of Reese during the season. And I remember tweeting something about that to David Slack and him favoriting it more than once during the season. So my question is, was there anything especially this season, in the process of working on Reese's character development, where you specifically thought in terms of that sort of not quite an anti-hero, but a darker hero? He starts out almost like a Shaw type, and then it's quickly revealed that he's absolutely really nothing like Shaw. He's really a good guy who got turned into this other thing that he's really not. And so was there a specific, thought process involved in him sort of finding out that he's not really the Batman, but more the Bruce Wayne trying to do
the right thing. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm probably not making sense.
Okay.
I'm a little distracted by looking at the cast, but forgive me.
Oh, no, I think I'm more intimidated. There's a bigger crowd out there. But I understand some of what you're saying. I always, the whole thing that happened with the voice, some people said, well, you do Clint Eastwood. I said, no, we're talking about a very important high-tech machine that nobody's supposed to know about. If I walk down New York and I go down the street and go, yeah, okay, this Samaritan and this, the world's gonna know and we're gonna get knocked off, okay? So it was always, kind of down here, and that's how that whole came. The other part of it was that I was, got to be here in Coronado and be with some of the most amazing men that I've ever met in the SEAL community. And the combination of the great writers here, Jonah bringing that whole thing together, and then essentially this guy really at heart, probably like a lot of us, I've been pushed around when we were kids, and when I went to a movie theater, I always looked at the hero and I wanted to be that hero. And Reese is generally, he's a bully killer. He's there to do that for you. Don't worry about it, I'll take care of it for you.
Thank you. I'm going to quote you
Do you have
on
any
that on
bullies in your
Twitter.
life? Hmm?
I'm taking the fifth.
Okay.
Hello. I just want to say I love you guys so much, and I just want to shout out that 13 is not enough, certainly not enough, and we want more seasons, even season 6, season 7, and a lot of fans in China are like supporting you guys. And I have a question for Amy. As we know, like Shaw is missing, and I don't know what your writers like planning, but in your views, what do you think? Like, what situation will like Shaw and Ruth will meet, and what would Ruth say to Shaw? And that moment.
Yeah, I don't know what they're planning either. Maybe they should answer and tell all of us. I think, we saw that glimpse of her at the end. So I think there was an interesting point where Root kind of had to make the decision between the machine and Shaw in a sense, because Shaw was driving away, and at the same time the machine had turned herself in. So having to choose the machine at that point, we kind of were left knowing that Shaw's out there, and I think, I imagine that will sort of haunt her and become a priority again this season, needing to know how to get her back and knowing that she's alive and knowing that we have to, as I've been saying the whole year, she's out there and we need to go get her.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're coming up on our last question here.
Okay.
Possibly. Let's see how it goes.
Well, thank you. Great show, great premise, got us hooked from the beginning, and of course, great character development. I do want to thank you for the episode when Jim, your character, and Shaw went to the high school reunion.
Oh, yeah. It's funny.
Dobbs Ferry High School. I graduated 39 years ago. Speaking of getting old, my question is for Jim.
Whoa!
You're probably...
Wait a minute. Maybe I should have ended it earlier.
You're younger than me. But no, seriously, I was impressed by the physicality, particularly episode 1, of you and all the other characters. And I think for a TV series, very impressive. But I would say, while you're giving props to our servicemen and women who've given you guidance and support, and I think that's terrific, I'd say it looks like you're slowing down a little bit, and I'd love to see more of that physicality in the next season. I think that's a great dimension to
Grandpa.
the series. So, what can you show us in the next season? I'd be impressed.
I think you would be a good stuntman.
Yeah. That's Captain Kirk right there.
Very good. Okay, so you do that.
He's going to beam you up.
We can do another.
Jim and I live in the same building, and I feel guilty almost every day because I walk by the gym, like eating a donut, and he's in there working out. So. I think he can probably take all of us.
Hi. One of the things my wife and I have loved about this show is that we've taken these characters like Lionel and Ruth that we were kind of not liking at the beginning of the show, and now they're some of our favorite characters, kind of Elias, and then even the finale, Control. We were kind of rooting for her. Was this something when you were starting this show that you kind of set out to do from the beginning, is show like redemption of the characters, or things are gray, or is it just the actors are awesome and that's kind of how you pulled it all together?
Want that one?
No, that's all you, brother.
I think, the greatest trick you can pull off, and if you have the actor that can do it, is that duality, the complexity of those characters. And we've been able to do it a couple times now on the show where people that you've hated, you find yourself rooting for. And I think, that shows sort of the nuance and the gifts of the actors that we can get on the show, and our willingness to always want to surprise.
Hi. This is kind of a compliment and also a question because I'm a computer guy and I actually had a Twitter war with Samaritan using Unix commands and Apache configurations. How do you guys get the technical aspects so down? You use JavaScript actually on screen and all the technical computer stuff for it.
Big shout out to our crew in New York. It features a couple of very, very, very conscientious people, the writers as well, and our incredible writing staff out here, the writers' assistants, and the crew in New York. Everyone is drilled on this, trying to make everything exactly right. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Guys, let's give it up for the cast and creators of Person of Interest. Show them your love.